What's up, world? Coming at you. We're live. Not live, but kind of live. We will be live. We've got some big people in the studio today with us. I'm nervous. Y'all seem pretty chilled out about it, which you're way more used to this than I am. So, without further ado, what's going on?
What's up, man?
Got Billy Hubbard in the studio, and introduce yourself to everybody.
I'm his woman. I'm Sarah Gray.
Yep. I really appreciate y'all coming on the podcast. This means a lot to me. I'm excited.
I'm just happy to do something local, man.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I love being close to home, and your podcast is real close to home.
It is. I was amazed when you told me that you had moved, and I'm like, what? That's 10, 12 miles away.
Well, people can hear me talk, and they're like, yeah, he can't read. He's from Clay County. Hear the accent that he's got going on.
Yeah. You have to forgive my cough. I've been fighting something for like a week or two.
Oh, well, I'm going to scoot back.
Well, we got to go. I'm sorry.
It's never been nothing but a cough. I don't know what it is. I've not had a fever. I don't know what it is. It's just a old hacking cough, but oh well. Fix me a good strong hot toddy tonight, and I bet it'll burn it out.
Well, I just moonshine. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Moonshine and honey.
I think I've got some moonshine up there, and a little peppermint and honey.
Yeah. If I don't kill it, then you might want to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Well, it'd either get rid of it or you just won't give a shit.
So, Billy, everybody, obviously, you're huge on TikTok.
I would say I'm popular.
Very well. Yeah. I'm gonna say huge.
Well, I appreciate that.
1.4 million followers on TikTok. That's not easy. That takes a lot of work. You're obviously doing something right, man. Tell us all about it.
Well, the first time I ever did comedy, it was at a club in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
It was called Side Splitters Comedy Club, and it was we were watching a comedian there. His name was Dale Jones, and that's the first time I'd ever done any kind of stand up. I blew it. It was awful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I watched and studied comedy for a while after that. And I went to the Army in 2017, and when I got out of the military, I got out in 2020.
Uh-huh.
2016 is when I went to the Army.
Okay.
I got out in 2020, and I started studying comedy. I was writing this cartoon that I wanted to do, and it involved this hillbilly, and I was like, man, I really could go somewhere with this. And I've worked on it for probably about 6 or 7 months.
Wow. And
one day I got curious, and I was like, well, what if I make this real and see if people like it?
Yeah.
And the first video that I ever did blew up overnight. And I was like, man, I get to enjoy this 10 minutes of fame, and it's been 2 years. So
that was it. That was the first thing you uploaded?
Yep. Before I did TikTok, I like memes and videos on Facebook. I like making little jokes about Clay County and all that.
Oh, yeah.
And I just kind of transferred that over into content, and people love it for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why, but they eat it up. They love it.
Well, I believe people can relate to it is why it makes it so popular, because everything you say is based from true events.
Yeah. Yeah, so I grew up in pretty complete poverty. Mm-hmm. Poverty was a big part of my childhood. We grew. I'm not saying my mom and dad didn't do a good job, but you only can do so much with what you have. And I remember going to school, and I'd see all these kids with their nice name brand shit, and I was like, yeah, this is, to me, if middle class to me when I was young, you were rich. Like you had all, if your tags were not expired and you had insurance, like you're going on the right path.
Yeah.
Like I remember growing up, there was times where my Uncle Toman, we all know him.
Oh yeah,
Toman, yeah.
Old Toman.
Me saying that I peed in a bottle for him so he could pass the drug test, that's real. I really did that shit.
Really?
Yeah. I'd still do it. I don't know if he'd pass or not. But
I
would still do it.
Well, that's great, man. I really feel like people can get a sense of that.
I try to make it humor. I try to make it relatable humor. I do my best to not make it seem like I'm making fun of somebody per se. Like I'm not really making fun of the culture, because I love Appalachian culture. I'm very proud of where I'm from. But like I told you earlier, growing up poor and poverty is something everybody all over the United States can relate to, right?
Yeah, but they can.
What I think makes it so hard in Appalachia is we're so cut off from the rest of the world, it seems like. That it just makes it so much worse.
Oh, absolutely.
What I think is really great about that element of comedy that makes it so relatable, it's something that a lot of people are embarrassed about and they don't like talking about. And you put a funny twist on it. You bring it to the surface where people can talk about it and laugh about it. It's something where they were ashamed for, a big part of their life over it.
Oh, I completely agree with that. People, more often than not, excuse me, don't want to talk about the bad times in their life and stuff like that, and they want to kind of try to keep it a secret and stuff like that. That's the totally wrong way to go about it, I feel like. In whatever aspect that you grew up in, embrace it, because you just gain strength from it. I
agree. If it hadn't been for how I grew up, I don't think I'd be exactly where I'm at today. Because to me, you see all these big content creators and they're all doing great, but I think they focus too much on the wrong things. There's a lot of good creators from this area. There's a lot of, you'd be amazed at how many talented people there are in the Appalachian Mountains and Tennessee and Virginia and Kentucky, but they don't get the recognition they deserve. You know what I mean?
I agree with you completely.
So for me, I feel very blessed and honored to at least have some kind of voice for them.
Yeah.
So that's why I love doing what I do, because I get to meet all these people, and it makes me I'm like, wow, but I'm like, I feel like a piece of shit, because well, you can sing and I'm funny, like I had roaches when I was a kid, yeah.
Well, a lot of people, unfortunately, in the Appalachian region, grow up that way.
Yeah.
So when they find somebody that has a following or a certain type of notoriety or whatever that may be, that takes such a hard upbringing and makes light of it and can laugh about it and bring it to them in a way where it makes it okay to have grown up that way, that's the funniest, best material that you will ever have.
You're absolutely right, man. One thing that did catch me off guard, and I tell her this a lot, is when I started doing, I have a series. It's called You Grew Up Poor, right? And
I love that series.
Just me talking about growing up poor. And the response I didn't expect, because I didn't realize that was such a relatable thing. And I don't just mean for where I'm from, people all over the country and Canada. They all love that. And I like the fact that I made people comfortable enough to open up a little bit about how growing up poor and in poverty has changed the way they look at life and how they value certain things. I love that. That's one of my biggest accomplishments, I think.
And that's the easiest material. That's the easiest material that you'll ever come up with, because it's real life stuff. It's not something that you've got to think about or work for to put out there to the people. It's just telling, hey, this is what we had to do to survive when I was growing up.
See, and that's another thing I like about what I do. So the content that I put out is very Southern Appalachian based, right? And it's genuine. I feel like it feels genuine because I've lived everything that I do. I'm not saying that, you should fake it till you make it kind of thing, but if you're not from Appalachia and from this area and you start trying to make the content that we do, it's not gonna hit the same.
No, because
it's not gonna hit the same.
It's not. You're not exactly right, because let's say you get some Joe Blow in here. Then he tries to do the type of content that you're doing. Somebody like you is going to know he's faking right off the bat, because there's little idiosyncrasies that come along with Appalachian heritage and living a certain way, whatever way that may be. You're going to be able to recognize a fake person right off the bat.
Yeah, and that's one thing I'm trying to go for when it comes to I don't want to be some rich comedian. A lot of people compare me to Jeff Foxworthy, like a rated R Jeff Foxworthy. Yeah. And I'm like, well, Jeff Foxworthy's handsome. If his family hears you say that, he's probably gonna beat the shit out of you. People say I look like Morgan Wallen if he had a crack problem. I get that, but I'm sitting here thinking somebody's gonna see this. Morgan Wallen's gonna be like, who the?
I think the best one I've heard is someone was in his live, and they said, "You look like David Spade." And he's like, David Spade? I was like, in his movies and stuff, I didn't think I look anything like him. And they're like, no, David Spade now. And David Spade's like in his 60s or 70s now. And I pulled up a picture of him now, and he has the same mustache and everything. I was like, oh my God, you're an aged David Spade.
Yeah, that's what we always say, man. Like I look like if Morgan Wallen at the age of 19 was like, fuck music, let's try meth. You know what I mean?
That's a very good way to put it.
But I want to put, like how Jeff Foxworthy and all those guys, when they were doing blue collar comedy, they made that, they had their little thing on that.
I'm dying already.
But I want to put Appalachia, like I want to put our area on the map.
Yeah.
I want people to know we're here, And I think the way technology's gotten in social media, it's possible. It's very possible. I've built an entire career off an app that used to meant like for shaking your ass and stuff. I can't shake my ass.
Yeah.
I look like an earthworm doing that shit. You know what I mean? I can't do that.
Sometimes after a few beers, he thinks he's like Beyonce up there. And he goes,
yeah?
will you film me shaking my butt? And I go, you're not going to want to see it. He turns it on the next day. He's like, you delete that. I look like a wounded chicken.
Get a little wild in the bar. And I start dancing like, something's eating that boy up over there. So, he some fire ants or something in there. He looks like he's having a bad time.
That's great that you do want to put Appalachia on the map for what Appalachia really is. That, in my opinion, anyway, the poverty and stuff like that comes along with Appalachia is part of the Appalachian heritage.
If I was to give a recommendation to anybody about our culture, something that's just like raw footage of it. Mm-hmm. There's a series on HBO, or is it Showtime? HBO, called American Hollow. Uh-huh. And it's was filmed in like the 90s, and it's about it's in the culture of Appalachia.
Yeah.
And the grandson of that woman is one of my best friends. His name's Brent. So I went over there. I've got to meet all those guys. If anybody wants to see like Appalachian culture at its best, that is the series to watch.
That's a series that they used to help Social Security and welfare, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's a series that they put out to show that government assistance was very much needed.
Okay.
In the South.
Not being from Appalachia and stuff, and being introduced to it by Billy, which I think is one of the best tour guides for being introduced to Appalachia.
Yeah.
I feel like anyone that serves in politics should have to live in Manchester, Kentucky, in that growing up poor scenario for at least 9 months.
Well, what's the slogan? The City of Hope, but it was changed to City of Dope there at one time.
See, and that's another thing, man. Like when people find out I'm from Manchester, they're like, like, don't walk behind him, step on a needle. You know what I mean? And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I just look like I do drugs. Like, I don't do drugs. Like, could you imagine what I look like if I was on drugs? Well, I'd look like a corpse.
He took me down the hollers that his family lived in, and I was just like, what are all these pipes coming out from the houses? And he goes,
Jesus.
That's their sewage. And I go, that's their sewage?
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, they don't have septic. They can't get trucks up here to dig septic. I was like, is this where the phrase shooting the shit comes from?
Yeah.
She didn't know what a meth pipe looked like.
Wow.
Yeah, they sell them in gas stations. By the way, if you're at a gas station watching this, what the fuck are you doing, man?
For real.
Yeah, like you got this little pipe about this big. Not speaking from experience, I'm just putting it out there. And it's a little bulb at the end, and it's got a big long shaft.
Yeah.
And they smoke meth out of it.
Yes, they do.
And she had no idea.
There was
nothing
like a
about
little
that.
rose in it, and it said a gift. And I was like, if you got me that gift, I'd be really upset. He's like, that's not for a gift. It's for doing drugs. I was like,
could you imagine though somebody that actually got that as a gift? Like, for real. Here you go, honey. Here's a meth pipe with a rose in it. I love you so much.
I've got big plans for your future.
I had him, the gas station clerk, and the person behind me that I think was speaking from experience trying to explain to me how one would consume drugs out of that. I was so confused.
I was blown away when that started showing up in gas stations, these meth pipes and stuff like that. And now they're selling like full-blown kratom. This kratom stuff, that's some crazy stuff too.
Well, see, unfortunately, the family that I'm from, we got a lot of, everybody struggles. There's somebody in everybody's family that struggles with drugs.
Oh, absolutely.
But unfortunately, in this area, it's more common than not. So I learned, like, I like to use the term, drugs have had a big impact on my life without ever using them.
Yeah.
And that's a very strong phrase to think about because they don't, when people get on drugs and stuff, and this, I think it's to cope with the, you know, the way they live.
Yeah.
And I understand that, but it has a big effect on their family and the people that are around them, especially the reputation of the town, city of dope, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But I just think that I really just wish that our area wasn't so associated with that kind of stuff.
Oh, I do too. It's really unfortunate that is kind of a stigma that comes along with living in this area. You know, unfortunately, it may always be that way.
Well, and that's fine, but I'll continue to make jokes about it, so I feel better.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, man.
I highly recommend you do.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love making. I'm not making fun of nobody. You know what I mean?
No,
I'm just saying that George Carlin is one of my favorite comedians of all time.
Genius.
And that guy, he took such controversial topics and explained them in such a way that he was pretty much telling these people to go fuck themselves, but in a way that was very funny.
Yeah.
I loved his work.
That's the great thing about comedy. You can use it and mold it if you're as good as people like you are. You can take such a very sensitive topic and mold it and make it your own and twist it around to where people will accept it for how you're bringing it to them. No matter if you're cussing them all to pieces or talking bad about their mom or whatever it is, they'll receive it and laugh their asses off about it.
He was working, did a show for a benefit the other day, and this girl was in the audience and heckling everyone really loud, and she said something about, well, maybe I'd let you take me home if you'd like. And there was somebody that was dressed up as the Grinch, and he looked dead in the eyes. He goes, I'd rather fuck the Grinch. And that girl came up and shook his hand and was like, you're so funny.
Yeah, I told her she looked like she always has sticky fingers.
Oh, yeah?
And nobody really knows what it is, you know what I mean?
Mystery stick.
Yeah.
Wow. That's good stuff. You know, I think the first video of yours I saw, which I was just thumbing through TikTok, you know, like everybody does, and it was the submarine video.
The submarine. And I got a funny story about that one.
Yeah. Or it may have been my wife actually sent it to me. She's like, watch it. It was my wife. She sent it to me. She's like, watch this video. You're going to die. And this was about the time, or it was the time that the submarine issue happened and everything like that. And I watched that video like 10 times over and over and over.
You should have seen the behind the scenes of that.
That was one of the most stressful shooting days we've ever had.
Really?
Me and my buddy, Michael Hargrove, and her, we were all sitting there. Go ahead, tell them how it went.
Oh, gosh. Well, they didn't get a lot of time to do content together. So we changed all of our schedules. So we had this one day committed to making a video.
Yeah.
And I think I had filmed almost... And, you know, the clips aren't very long. The skits aren't. And I think I filmed almost 3 hours of stuff that it just wasn't hitting. You know, we were looking at it going, it's funny, but it's not that funny.
Right.
Like,
I'm a perfectionist.
Well, you got to be.
It's a ha-ha, but not a ha-ha-ha. And we're like, okay, guys, we're not going to force it. You know, we've been trying to force it. We're done. We're just not going to do anything else tonight. We're just going to put this up to scrap, you know. Yeah. We tried, and it didn't work. And Michael went into the bathroom and was taking a dump. And you could hear him in there, and he messaged us. He's like, oh, my God, don't go to sleep. I have an idea. And he comes storming through the door, and he goes, the submarine.
Oh,
Let's do the hillbilly submarine.
Such a funny. The way we approached it was, he's like, "Did you see that Titan submarine where everybody died?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Let's make fun of them." I went, "Oh shit, okay." So he was like, "We got a setup," and I found the table. We was under a dining room table, and Sarah was like, "Let's put a blanket in the back, make it look like an actual submarine."
That was like our fourth setup of trying to make a submarine, and we're just over here like a bunch of kids. Like we got yarn and like popsicle sticks and some Saran wrap. How are we gonna make a submarine here?
That got a better response, which is controversial, but at the same time, I thought the situation wasn't funny, but what we did was, we were thinking like, what if someone like someone named Earl and Tolman was like, you know what, let's go see the Titanic on the submarine, but fuck paying $100,000. I got some wood glue, $30, and some pallets that I don't need.
Yeah.
So we went with that, and it got a better response than I thought it would, because we pretty much went, oh, they died on the Titan. So that's pretty much how we summed up that situation.
It was so funny. I mean, just like all the videos, I watch all your videos and stuff. My wife sent me that. I think I actually had to get up out of the bed because we was about to go to bed or something other. And I think I had to get up out of the bed because I was just laughing my hind end off. It was so funny and genius. But that's what I'm thinking about. You was talking about a sensitive issue. People died, but the difference in you and everybody else, I feel like, is that people will kind of hunker down and snicker about a funny idea they have about a bad situation, whereas you're saying it, and making light of a obviously bad situation.
I go by a quote, and it's, if you can't laugh at a situation, the situation itself wins. Yeah. I like that quote a lot. And so we had saw a bunch of memes and jokes about the Titan and stuff like that, but some of them were like just kind of
real dark.
Yeah, real dark.
Yeah,
insensitive to the families that lost people. And that's not what we were trying to do.
No, you could tell. It was like, what if a hillbilly redneck done that? Type of thing, maybe.
And what'd been worse, if it'd been us that done it, it wouldn't make the news. They'd be like, yeah, some pallet washed up covered in blood on the beach. We don't know what the fuck happened.
I found a can of Copa hanging.
yeah. That was hilarious. I love that video. I love all of them. It's crazy.
The hardest thing to do, though, is when you get video. Like, I've been a content creator for a while now, but transferring that to do stand-up it's kind of difficult.
I can't even imagine.
But me, I love, I've never, which is probably a bad thing. It might mean that I'm doing something wrong. I don't get nervous when I do stand-up.
Really?
I've never had stage fright, and it might be because I like being the center of attention. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is, but I've just never.
Might be.
No, it definitely is.
Yeah.
That and half the time I get on stage, I'll drink like 4 or 5 beers, loosen up a little bit.
Loosen up a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and then when I get on stage, I'm like, fuck them if they don't like me, I guess.
Yeah.
I really feel like your social anxiety is so bad, and your coping mechanism your whole life has been comedy, because you're like, if I'm making them laugh, then they're not laughing at me. They're laughing at what I'm saying.
Oh, well.
So he rides that social anxiety roller coaster.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Anyway, you got to cope with it, man. You're doing it the right way.
When I do comedy, I don't care. Like, she's been with me back when I first, started to do comedy a lot, stand-up comedy. I've done shows with just 2 people in the audience.
Oh, really?
Just 2 people in the audience. But I give those 2 people everything inside of my soul.
Heck yeah, I bet you did.
Yeah, so.
He gets more tired after the shows where there's so little people, because he's like, I'm going to make I feel like he's like, I got to make this the best comedy show that they've ever seen. And he'll pass out in the car on the way home. He just has no energy
give it
left.
your all.
Yeah.
I give it everything inside my soul.
That's what you got to do. I completely believe that. You got to put, this is what you do. You are a comedian. So you've got to put everything you got into it.
Well, I try to put everything I got into it, but sometimes I still struggle with. I have really bad anxiety. A lot of people, they see my videos and they're like, "I bet he ain't shy," but they're wrong.
Really,
I'm very shy, man, and which it does create some funny situations for me, because I play this mean redneck on the internet. Yeah. I am a hillbilly, don't get me wrong, but I'm not mean.
Right.
Yeah. So I'll have random dudes walk up to me and be like, "Hey, bro, come here. Come tell my wife to go fuck herself." I'm like, damn, man.
that would, I can see people going up to you and saying, "Hey, will you go cuss this guy out for me?"
I do it too.
You do you?
Yeah, I do it. Don't put me on the spot like that. I'll go over and punch him.
I think I remember a video where you was kind of having to explain to people, hey, this is I'm a nice guy, I'm not completely heartless and stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go.
When I moved to this area and people found, he's a little bit of a local celebrity here, and I was working doing health insurance and stuff, and people come up to me, they go, "You're dating that Billy Hubbard guy. How's it dating someone that's so mean to women?"
God, really?
And I go, they're like, "You're so nice. I don't see how you'd put up with that." I go, it's a skit, right? Like, it's a character.
Yeah.
And they just couldn't. They're like, "No, I've seen his videos. I know him."
It's on the internet. It's got to be true.
Yeah, sometimes though,
It's not a character.
I'll play along with it. Like, people walk up to me and be like, "That woman of yours that's always around you, she's always following you. Why is that?" Because I'll hit her. I'll hit her.
He told someone that he bought them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it started rumors at my job that I was a kept woman.
A kept woman. Wow.
Like, he went down to Florida and purchased me, and he pays to keep me. And I was like,
I was going to say.
Now, listen, let me
rumors
explain.
It's got to be spread.
This is the negative thing about rumors with me. If somebody walks up to me and asks me about a rumor that's completely off the fucking wall, no matter what it is, I'm going to say it's true.
I knew you was going to say that.
It'll be true.
I knew you was going to say
I remember
that.
one time this guy walked up to me and said, "Yo, Billy, I heard back in your younger days you got locked up because you put someone in a box and just beat the fuck out of them." And I was like, "Hell yeah, and I'll do it again." I was like, and I'm thinking, like, who comes up with these schemes just because I'm on the internet? Someone's like, "Oh, I remember him. He beat the fuck out of my nephew."
I would go along with whatever was said.
Any rumor that they say about me, I just agree.
Yeah.
Even some of them are true.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
they're wild. I heard from somebody at the gas station. Like, I was going into work, and they go, "You know your man, that Billy Hubbard, stole children."
Stole children. Wow. Stole children.
Yeah, I was like, most of the time he doesn't even have a vehicle that runs properly, so I don't know. They just throw him in a sack and like run off to Papa's with him.
Somebody ever walked up to me and was like, "Hey, Billy, do you steal kids?" I'd be like, "Why, you got some?"
Yeah.
just
You need to
reminded-
get you a van and just spray paint "stole children" on the side of it.
No stolen kids in here.
It reminded me of that Chris Farley skit where he's like, "How much for the baby?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "But this is real life."
Yeah. Wow, some of the things you hear.
That's not the worst. I get the easier end on it, man. I've been around a lot of big name people, and just some of the rumors that they say get started about you simply because you're popular is wild.
Oh, I imagine so.
It's part of it's just one of those things you got to deal with. It happens.
Now, as far as, you're obviously well known. Is there like an invasion of privacy, or as far as that goes, that you've got to deal with and stuff? And how do you put up with that?
As far, not really an invasion of privacy. I don't put a lot of my personal stuff on the internet.
Right,
like a lot of people, they don't know I have kids. You know, they don't. I try not to. Now, as far as personal goes, I will put like my Xbox gamer tag.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's about as far as the invasion of privacy goes.
Okay.
People add me on Xbox and sent me like 8 party invites. So if you're watching this, please fucking stop doing it. So that's about as far as that goes.
Yeah. Well, that's good. And I would think that people being from this area and stuff like that, you're going to deal with some nut jobs and a good majority of just like really good people too.
One of my favorite fan experiences we ran into at the Dollar General. One of his fans that was there with his boy, and he was sick and was having to hold his boy, and he's going, "I like your videos," and he's like, "Sorry, I don't mean to keep hanging around here, and like I don't want to invade your." He's like, "But I'm looking for this. My wife needs this exact thing." So we're getting up on the shelves and he's holding the baby and helping him find, the product that he needed.
Oh, really?
And he's like, "Thank you so much. I just didn't want you to think that I was just being weird and hanging out here. I just really needed this thing. It was on the paper. I promise. Thank you so much."
All right, so since we're talking about how people are with me, let me tell you an embarrassing story about when I met one of my heroes.
Okay.
Oh gosh, I know the one you're gonna do.
So I went to Tyler Booth invited me to his concert in Lexington. Right. And if you don't know who Tyler Booth is, he's a phenomenal artist.
I'm going to interrupt you really quick. Please start with the fans at that show in the bathroom and then go into...
Oh, yeah, that was... All right, so that's that. We'll start with that. I was in the bathroom, right, peeing. I wouldn't be doing anything else. Maybe meth. But this big dude, big guy, walks in there and he goes, "Hey, Billy, when you get done, meet me outside. I got to talk to you. And I was like, oh, man. Yeah. This guy's going to beat the shit out of me. I've slept with his wife or something. So I go outside, and I'm like, Sarah, might be going down. I don't know what's about to happen. So this guy walks up to me and goes, yo, Billy, you're the one. Come here. And I was like, all right, then. He goes, I just want you to know I'm a real big fan. I was like, motherfucker, you cannot be approaching people like that. Yeah. There's got to be a different way to approach people that you like. I thought you was about to like.
He had another fan that was in the bathroom on the other side of the urinal that I saw him walk out. He was walking behind Billy like this. And if anything was going to go down, I think that fellow was about to protect him. And he went up to the other big fellow and was like, listen, don't ever approach somebody like that. He goes, I was scared for this guy.
Yeah. I'm a little guy. Like, I'm built like a mop. You know what I mean? I can't be fighting people. But,
I was surprised at how tall you are.
A lot of people are.
Man, because even before you got here, I was like, you look kind of short on the videos. I don't know whether it's the angle or whatever you use, but when you got out of the truck, I was like, daggone. It's like as tall as I am. I'm like 6'2", 6 something.
I think I'm pushing right at 6. I'm right.
Yeah, you're a lot taller than I thought you were.
Well, I thought he was going to be like 5'8".
Oh, really?
I got the personality of a 5'8" guy.
I think you have a lot of really tall friends that don't really look that tall. It just makes you look shorter in the videos you're with.
Yeah.
Oh, but get back to...
Yeah, Wade Jennings. That's who I'm talking about.
Okay.
Wade Jennings is the grandson of Waylon Jennings, right?
Yes.
So I've listened to his stuff. Me and my mom both, we love all the stuff he does. And that's been the first time I'd actually got invited to something besides Tyler. Of course, I love Tyler.
Yeah.
And Wade Jennings was, he was in the bathroom, and I was drunk. And I just look at this man. He has no idea who I am because Tyler hadn't introduced me yet. And I just went, hey, I fucking love you. And then I walked off. And that's how I approached him.
Well, wow.
And later, Tyler is like, hey, you want to meet Wade? And he's like, I already met him. He's like, you want to take a photo with him? And Wade's like, you can tell he's like a little uneasy about it. And he goes up to him and puts his hand on his shoulder and holds him real tight. And he's about this far away from his face. And Billy's drunk as shit. And turns to him and goes, I love you.
Oh, my God.
I'm taking the photo. And he says it. And he looks at me and gives me a nod of like, I've accomplished what I need to accomplish, and just marches off. And I'm there with the phone, and he looks at me, Wade does, and he goes, do you want to take a picture? And I go, no, it's okay. And I think he didn't know what to do so much that he took out his phone and took a selfie with me on his phone. And I was like, I feel like he just did that to make the situation a little less weird.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But I don't even remember like half these interactions. I remember telling him that. Yeah. And I remember him being like, like, what the fuck?
Daggone.
I was like, Tyler will never invite me to another one of his concerts again.
I told him it wouldn't have been so bad if you didn't get close enough that you were whispering into his pores.
Oh, wow.
He was that close. Like, his nose was almost touching his nose.
I could have bit his ear and it wouldn't have been any less weird.
Really?
Yeah. It was weird.
Cringy.
It was real cringe. And he just marched off and left me there with Wade. And Wade was looking at me like, I really don't know how to digest
You know what, though? You made quite an impression on the guy.
Oh, yeah. If he sees us, he'll remember me.
Yeah, I guarantee he remembers you.
He'll remember me.
That's that guy.
Yeah, he's like, that's the fuck. Matter of fact, write his name down. Make sure he doesn't come to anything else I do.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I would need a protective warrant against Billy Hubbard.
Yeah.
But I've got to work with a lot of cool people like that. I love it.
Now, how long have you been doing, like, shows?
Professionally?
Yeah.
What do you mean, where they pay me?
Yeah.
Probably about a year.
Oh, you've been doing it that long?
Yeah, about a year.
That's awesome.
Now, when I say pay me professionally, even if it's like $30, I like to say professional because it makes me feel better. You know?
Well, yeah, it's a paid gig.
Now, I do get booked in some weird shit. I'm not even, like, this is the weirdest gig I ever did. It was in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, Don's House of Comedy. Phenomenal people, by the way. They're doing great. They were renting out venues to use until their club was set up. Right. Well, they said, yeah, the venue's real big. A lot of people used to come here on the weekend. A lot of people. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. We showed up as a church. I was like, well, this is why everybody here on the fucking weekend. It was a Sunday. And then they had these murals on the wall of Jesus that they had just covered up.
Oh my God.
And I was like, you're sitting there selling beer. I told her, I was like, I don't even want to headline this show anymore.
Yeah.
Because if I do bad. But I had another guy there with his name's Dusty Carter. He's a phenomenal comedian.
Right.
So we switched we switched places because I knew he could handle it. Dusty, you could put that man in any situation. He could be funny. I wish I could do that.
He was talking about having me like open for it, and I was like, I'm gonna open it, going, why don't you guys have a seat?
Yeah.
Chris Hansen,
Oh, my
competitor,
God.
and he's like, we are not putting you up on a church stage saying that. And I was like, fair enough.
Yeah, there's been a few events we go to where I tell her like, here's what I'm going to open with, and she's like, do not do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've got some pretty bad jokes.
I'm like, there might be a crowd for it, but this is not the one.
Yeah.
This is not it.
There's definitely a crowd out there for it, though. I guarantee it. Yeah, I guarantee they are. Now, you've got a show coming up here in just a few days, right?
Yeah, in Corbin, Kentucky, at
Yeah.
the train station this
Yeah,
Saturday.
train station.
Yeah.
I know those folks, as a matter of fact, and I already told you this, but they was on the podcast a while back for the Resilient Nights.
Yep, the charity
super
for
good
veterans.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, helping out and stuff like that. They're really good people.
I agree.
Highly recommend those folks, and everybody that's listening to this, go out and see this show. It's going to be hilarious. I get no doubt about it. And I actually have the flyer that I can pull up here too. If I turn my mouse off, no.
Yeah, I did all the flyer work myself, so if
Oh.
you need flyer shit done, hit me up. I'll do it
There's
poorly
the
for you.
flyer. Y'all can see that. January 6th, $10 admission, free for all veterans. Doors open at 6 p.m. Show starts at 7:30 p.m. 4672 5th Street, Corbin, Kentucky, right?
Yep.
And all tickets are going to be sold at the door. We were talking about doing pre-sales, but the fact that a lot of the VFWs and stuff were really excited about it, we would hate for all the tickets to sell out and not have room for veterans. So,
Oh, yeah.
We
Well, you
would-
got to think of you veterans first.
yeah.
You know, I mean, there's no going wrong when you're doing anything for your veterans.
I do my best as far as I can, though, with my popularity, to try to be helpful in the community.
Yeah.
And so when the train station reached out to me, they're a slightly newer venue. They used to be called Felt's
Yep.
Music Place. It was
Yep.
it's a beautiful venue. There's a lot of seating there.
Mm-hmm.
And when they first reached out to me, I knew that she had worked with Resilient Knights because her husband was a sergeant major in the military.
Yep.
And I was like, well, just donate all the ticket sales, and she was perfectly okay with that.
Wow.
So they're phenomenal.
cool.
Yeah, they're the best one of the best people I've ever worked with, because anything that they work with me on everything. They even got the city involved. They're phenomenal. I've never had such a supportive group of people when it comes to comedy.
Yeah.
Like this Saturday, I have people that's flying in from Texas and all these places to come see me, and it's all happening in a county over from where I grew up, and
Yeah.
that all happened because of the way they are and me getting popular on the internet. It's just something I never thought in a million years would have happened, especially in my hometown. I've always told her and a lot of people that if I ever get to the point to where I can sell out venues in New York, like Madison Square Garden and that, I would rather 100 times over do something close to home than there, especially when it comes to my popularity.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to put my hometown and all the places around it on the map. That's my end goal.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a good job of it. I have no doubt about it that you will. You've already put it, as far as I'm concerned, and a lot of other people, you've already put us on the map. Sky's the limit, man. And I know you think that way, and I know that that's the way you gotta be. And I wish you all the success in the world. And I love your videos; they're hilarious, and I love seeing people from this area succeed. And yeah, it's I don't think there's any limit to where you can go.
I hope not. I've been doing shows now consistently for about a year, and the pay gets a little better each time.
Yep.
The crowd gets a little better each time, and I think the biggest downfall a lot of people have, even musicians, they get disheartened when something doesn't exactly go the way that they want it to go.
Oh yeah, it's
Like if you've got 2 people in a crowd and 3 streams on your music, that's fine. Like it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
You just got to be consistent and just keep the same attitude no matter how many people you're in front of. And
I agree.
that does wonders for everybody.
I agree completely. It'll be a year, February 26th, for this podcast that I've been I've been doing it just 11 short months. And in those 10, 11 months, it's skyrocketed. And I don't believe it's because of anything I've done. It's because of the people that's come on the show, that's told the stories, and I've said this 100 times, but I'll say it one more time. It's because of the content that I provide and the possibility for people to come on here and tell their stories, their hard luck stories, their hilarious stories, whatever it may be. When I first started trying to think of a certain type of content that I wanted to base the podcast on, I couldn't figure out which one I wanted to do, and then I was like, why do I have to pigeonhole myself to one type of content, So I've got your drug addicts and your recovering addicts on here. You've got your people from all walks of life that comes on this podcast and just use the table as an outlet to tell whatever they want to tell. So, and it's all unscripted, as real as it can be, and I think that's attributed to its success too. And I kind of feel like that's how you've taken your career in this.
That's why I like the podcast so much. I'm a big fan of you probably know a channel on YouTube, Soft White Underbelly.
Oh yeah,
I love that guy.
I do too.
The way he does it, and when he does the Whitakers that he does, I love that.
I do too.
So you kind of do the same kind of stuff and interview close to home.
Yeah.
And I feel like you put a lot of stories out there that need to be heard.
Yeah.
And it not only helps people hear it, but the person that's getting to speak out about it maybe give some advice on what somebody in a similar situation should do. So
Yeah.
I love it, especially when it comes to I know we're known, our area is known for a very bad drug problem.
Yeah.
But what people don't ever think about is why.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Because nobody keeps doing all these drugs and meth because they're fun.
Right.
Maybe about a month it's fun.
Maybe about a month. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's not fun no more.
Yep.
So I really think that people should start, instead of bashing these people and just making fun of them and doing what they do, they should really reach out and see there's a reason for all that.
Oh, they are. They are. With every guest that's come on this podcast and told about what led up to them becoming an addict, there's a reason for it. They didn't just say, "Oh, give me that heroin" or "give me that whatever." If there's something that led up to it. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot to do around here.
No, there's not.
I think that has a lot to do with it. There's not a lot to occupy somebody, these young kids and whatever. And unfortunately, more often than not, that's something that they use to make time go by.
One thing that I don't understand in Clay County and places like I grew up, why do we have like 15 pharmacies, no homeless shelter, and none of that stuff to help? That even baffled her when she came over there.
Yeah, you can't go. I mean, in between the Dollar Generals and the Family Dollars and stuff, there's a pharmacy.
Yeah.
And if you know anything about this area, there's a Dollar General and Family Dollar every 2 or 3 miles.
And there's more people on food stamps in this county than in Clay County than most of Kentucky, and there's no food pantries. There's nothing to help.
Mm-hmm.
The community is so shut off from each other that you couldn't help your neighbor really if you wanted, because it might be just a holler down the road, but that's halfway up a mountain.
It's absolute truth.
And I like that too.
Well, and Billy it's really weighed on him. He goes, I really wish I could do more for the community that I grew up in. I really wish that they would let me do anything to help. And I go, you are, whether the people in the town are letting you or not, you're putting it on the map.
Oh, yeah.
It'll bring more business here. It'll bring more money in. And it's not going to be an overnight thing that'll help. But hopefully more people like Billy and you that are doing content like this and putting it out will help make this a more livable place in 15 years.
Oh, absolutely.
Like in London, like all they need is something for the youth to do.
Yeah.
Like that would make they don't even realize how big of a change that would make. Like in London, they opened the Palace over there.
Yep.
That bowling alley.
Awesome
We went
place.
over there, nothing but like kids and families and stuff over
Yeah.
there. Just something for people to do.
Yeah.
Besides, like when I was in school, all we had to do after school was hang out the basketball court.
Uh-huh.
And drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, get into meanness.
Yeah, there ain't shit to do.
Yeah.
And I just feel like there's just so much more that the local government could be.
do.
Yeah, they could do.
Oh, yeah. They absolutely are. A whole lot more they can do. Unfortunately, that's kind of, like I said earlier, that's kind of a stigma that follows the Appalachian region.
Well-
But it's all over. It is
Yeah.
all over the world. It's just that, sometimes it's more prominent in these areas because of the lack of things to do.
I think a lack of transportation is a huge thing
Yes.
too. Like I've lived all over the country. I've lived in different countries. I've never seen a place that is so. If you don't have a car, you're not getting anywhere. You're not. They might help you with doctor's appointments that are out of
Yeah.
county, but you want a better job that's out of county. It's not going to happen unless you have a car.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know. Like I said, with Billy's content and your content being heard everywhere and seen everywhere, it really does shine a light on that.
I hope it does. I believe it makes a difference in some way.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I ain't running for mayor because I just fuck it up way worse than I already is.
He was over there the other day. He goes, I'd be a good political office. I go, in what world, Billy, would you be good in political
God.
office? He's like, I could be a constable. I go, could you?
I would be a gunman. But the moment they ran for me, it's over. They're gone. Like, if I'm ever a cop, just let it be known, you got to get away from me, just run. Because I got, it claps when I walk. It's just, you know what I mean?
I like to introduce him and be like, if you hear a round of applause and you're worried where it's come from, it's just his ass.
That's good.
He's his own biggest fan.
So, is it safe to say that she's your number one critic?
Yeah.
Well, there's skits that he'll do without me, and he'll come and he'll save it to show it to me when I get home. And he goes, what do you think? I go, yeah, it's funny. He goes, you did not laugh out loud one time. I go, it's funny. It wasn't like out loud laughing funny, but it had some funny. He's like, nope, I'm deleting it. You don't think it's funny? I'm not posting it. Nope.
I am too.
I want all my content to give someone like a belly laugh at least once, like a hard laugh. And if it doesn't, I get frustrated.
I'm that way. I don't listen to my own podcast because I don't like the way I sound on it. And my wife and dozens of other people said, you're stupid. You sound good. You've got a good voice for a podcast.
I'm the same way. I'm really overcritical of everything.
I'm super critical.
I think I sound sexy. I'm not gonna lie.
I think you sound like Wade from Grand Theft Auto.
Oh yeah, a lot of people tell me that too.
Yeah.
Like Wade from GTA 5.
I can see it. I can see it.
I don't think I do.
Yeah, I know you don't.
Cause
I'm glad you got an adjustable hat that you gave him to fit all that ego.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, if y'all haven't noticed, Billy's wearing a What's Up World hat.
yeah, I think I look good in it.
Yeah. Which leads me to a little bit of an announcement, if you're okay with it.
Yeah, go right ahead, brother.
Or you want to.
Well, we want to rock, paper, scissors for it?
We'll do rock, paper.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Okay. I guess it means I'm telling it. Of course, Billy's on the podcast, obviously, as everybody can see, but
What?
the What's Up World podcast is going to be a sponsor of Billy's, and I'm really excited about that. The opportunity presented itself, and I was like, is he serious? I'm like, because I'm in no way on your level and everything. Now, I do have a lot of listeners and stuff like that. I'm not going to say I don't, but so yeah, I mean, that's the announcement. The What's Up World podcast is going to be sponsoring Billy Hubbard. So I'm excited about that. Really, kind of still in awe about it, but I'm happy to do it, man.
Well, I'm happy for it too, man, because like you've got a great setup here, and I feel like in the future we're going to do a lot of good shows together. I have a lot of friends that would love to be on your podcast.
I'd love to have them.
Exactly, and I feel like I'm going to be on here a lot more.
Awesome.
And I'm perfectly okay with that, especially since we're all local.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're going to grow, and they're going to know us all over the country.
Man, that'd be awesome.
He's had some sponsors, like people offer to be sponsors,
Uh-huh.
and this is the only one that I thought made sense for his content. Because while your guys' content isn't exactly the same, it's both really real, and it's kind of around the same realm of stuff. There was somebody that wanted to sponsor him to selling dog water bowls.
Yeah, what the fuck is that shit?
Dog water bowls.
Yeah.
Because he'll say that, he'll go, what is this shit? It tastes like dog water.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they were like, yeah, we want you to sponsor our dog water bowls.
And
yeah.
she thinks it's a bad idea, but I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
And you heard me say it earlier.
Uh-huh.
I think we should put our logos on thongs. I want to be on a thong, and she says no, that she don't like that.
Yeah.
Billy, you already have fans, female fans. We'll be on a date, and they come up and will grab your mustache and be like, "Is that real?" They don't introduce themselves. They don't say anything. How
Yeah.
comfortable are they going to be if they have your face on their crotch? I'll go to jail.
Yeah.
I'll try the thongs on just to make sure that they look good. You know what I mean?
That wasn't even the thing. Like, and I know how you are with money. If I go to jail, I'm not going to have anything on my commissary.
If we sell enough thongs, you will. you're not looking at the bigger picture.
Yeah, you gotta look at the big picture.
I've seen you spend $4,000 in 3 days.
Goddamn right.
I would be starved in jail.
Oh shoot, that was great.
Yeah. Impulsiveness gets the best of me. There was a guy that sold me a truck the other day. He was like, "I got a truck. You come over here tonight and look at it."
Have you ever heard anyone buy a truck at night? It was
hell
pitch
yeah.
black.
Well, yeah, around here, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's pretty common.
I was like, "It ain't stolen. No liens."
I know a lot of people that has bought trucks and never saw them.
Well, he agreed to buy it. Never seen it. I've never heard of anything. He goes out there at 11 o'clock at night. I go, how many miles on the truck? He goes, the truck's got like 250,000 miles on it, but they did a motor swap. The motor's got about 20,000 miles on it. We opened the hood the next day. The motor's all rusted out. There ain't no way that it only has 20,000
It's a
miles.
5.7. She don't
Oh,
understand. Yeah.
that makes a lot of. That makes a big
Yeah,
difference.
they could shit in their hands and put it in a motor and it still runs.
Yeah, how those push rods doing?
They're not doing too good.
Yeah, I saw that.
They're a little bent.
Yeah.
They're a little on the bent side, but that ain't nothing $30 can't
Just a
fix.
tad.
Yeah.
But no, I'm excited about being a sponsor for you. Anything I can do, you just let me know. It's kind of surreal for me. We talked a little bit before we started recording about the possibilities of having other guests and stuff on there, and I welcome it. And when I first started this, I was like, I'm going to go all out. I want to be taken seriously. I want it to be as professional as it can be and stuff like that. And you can ask my wife, anytime I set out on anything, I don't aim to fail at it. And it's taken quite a bit of money to get this to what it is. Thankfully, I've got a few sponsors that has helped immensely along the way. So always thankful for them. But
Yeah, I think it's wild. Your D's Grilled Salsa, that's your sponsor.
Yeah.
I actually had that salsa when I was living in Florida. It's
you
phenomenal.
heard that, Dan-O, didn't you?
Man, the biggest thing I like about what I do is the thing that always stopped me as a creator to do anything that I wanted was financial stuff.
Uh-huh.
That's the only thing that ever slowed me down. But I've never really cared about how much money I was making when it comes to content and comedy. But I learned a long time ago, 6 months ago, that if you don't have the funding for something, it's really hard to get by.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the fact that you put all this together, man, and you've got all these people involved in it is just amazing to me. Because you can something like this is not just something that you decide, it'd be fun to have a podcast. Like,
Yeah. Well, I didn't want people to think that it was just some flunky type of podcast, which is why I sent you a picture of the studio that day. I was like, I don't know what he's thinking that he's coming to. I want him to know that, hey, this ain't no
man,
joke or whatever.
I've been interviewed in a bathroom before.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This is the nicest studio I've ever been in.
Well, I appreciate it.
The
I
interview
wanted
in
you
the
to.
truck was the wildest one to me. Like the
Oh yeah, the guy
threw a
that
tarp over it, and I'm like, that'll help with the noise. I was like, I don't think that's gonna help with the
the
noise.
guy was sitting there interviewing me. I had a cigarette in my hand because I was
Yeah.
nervous, drinking a Mountain Dew. My truck was running, and you hear the push rod go. Oh my god! So I turned that off. Everybody else had big fancy microphones. I looked like an idiot, but it's all right.
Yeah,
we got the interview out of the way.
Yeah. I want it to be taken serious.
Well,
so
That's what
You're
Pat
on
Billy
the-
was too.
Yeah, you're on the right track. I know how that shit feels. When I started doing content, a lot of people didn't take me serious when I said I was going to do comedy.
yeah.
It's one of those, like, you ever hear the small town rapper who thinks he's going to make it big, but nobody takes him serious?
Yeah.
I felt like that.
Uh-huh.
And then when I started showing numbers, people started taking me a little bit more serious. Some of them still don't take me serious.
I don't see how they couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be
Well-
amazed at what some people have. I call it the small town mentality. They don't think there's anything out there besides what they're used to.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
Yeah. yeah, pretty much.
Well, and a lot of people equate success with money, and like.
Oh, yes. God.
Ever since Billy and I have been dating, he's been toying around with, because it has been a struggle. Sometimes I work 2-3 jobs to be able to afford to get him to shows and all of that. And he goes, well, let me get a job. Let me get a part-time job. And I go, absolutely not. Because any energy you're taking away from your dream, and this is your dream, it's a waste of energy, and it's just going to make you depressed. It's going to take away from your content. You already got a lifetime's worth of stories. I go, if this is your dream, it should be your number one focus. And if we struggle and we have to sell pop cans for enough gas to get to your show, then
Which
by
we have
God-
done.
Yeah, we have done. It's by God, that's what we're going to do.
Dang, Billy. Sounds like you got a winner, buddy.
Man, listen, I've been in some shit situations before. Me and her got kicked out of a bar in Nashville once.
Oh, yeah?
I'm going to tell that story for the world to hear. This is a good one.
Which,
Go ahead.
Oh gosh, I know.
Somebody, I don't know how much time we got left. This is a good story.
You're good. Go.
We were at Tootsie's in Nashville, and somebody bit my buddy on the ear.
Wait, you got to tell them about the before that.
What'd I do?
No, what I did.
Oh,
No way. Somebody bit my buddy on the ear and what? This? Okay. Okay, I'm going to shut up. You
we
go.
were both drunk. Keep that in
Well,
mind.
somebody gave me a bunch of Delta 8 gummies.
Oh, yeah, hell
These
yeah.
aren't going to do anything, and I ate like 15
She
of
was
them.
wrong.
I was wrong.
Oh, wow. So you was flying.
And I really had to pee, because we just started drinking, and these Delta 8 gummies, it just hit in. And all the security guards thought it was so funny to tell me the different direction to go for the bathroom. They kept pointing me towards the emergency exit.
Oh, my God.
And it's 4 stories, right? So I've gone up and down the stairs, and I finally find a men's bathroom, and I'm, the Delta 8 gummies hidden. I go, fuck it. I'm going to pee in there instead of my pants.
Yeah.
And I go in there and I pee in a urinal, and I get kicked out of Tootsie's. And I'm downstairs, and I'm like, you guys, my phone, my boyfriend's got my phone, everything, you just can't throw me loose on Nashville all by myself. They're like, by God, we can. And the cop was actually really nice and went to go find Billy, which...
Was being kicked out at the same time.
Oh.
For punching the guy that bit my buddy on the ear.
Wow.
So, yeah. He was like, hey, your woman's outside. But I was like, I'm on my way. They're escorting me out right now.
Mighty.
The cop was like, okay.
and they were like, you guys can come back tomorrow, just not today. And I go in the next day to that same bar, and the bartender goes, Sarah. I was like, oh, shit. This is Nashville. I shouldn't be being singled out by my name. And she goes, I heard about that. I got a beer for you. And I got a free beer for peeing in the urinal at the,
Well, paid off. Worth it.
I mean, that's $15 in Nashville.
Oh, yeah. Guarantee it. That's wild.
Yeah, we got kicked out of the same bar at the same time for 2 different things. 2 different floors, too. I was on the second floor. He was on the rooftop.
Man, I got thrown out of a bar one time in Richmond called Mavericks.
Mavericks.
Yeah.
I think
That was a rough place back in the day.
I've heard stories of Mavericks.
Yeah.
Only bar I've ever been to over there was it Bluegrass Barrel House? Is that in Richmond or is that in Berea?
That's Richmond. I think that used to be Mavericks.
What did they kick you
It
out?
may have been.
I think it
fighting.
was.
Fighting.
Yeah,
Wow.
imagine that. I don't know. I can't remember what led up to it. All I know is I got in a fight with some dudes, and I guess they were regulars, and I wasn't, and they threw me out.
You weren't the favorite. They kicked you
Right.
out. Yeah.
Wasn't in the clique. So
I was at this bar down in Tampa, and I got kicked. I didn't even get kicked out. A gentleman came up, not a gentleman, because what he did was very ungentlemanly. He came up and he pulled a trump and picked me up right by the vagina.
wow.
So I put his head through a cigarette machine. Turns out the glass for cigarette machines is really, really expensive. They just told me I had to go home for the night. The other guy got permanently banned. I came back the next day, and they were like, you just got to pay the $300 to replace the, glass for that. I was like,
That's
considering how I'm only 19, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
There's At Pat's the other day, we went to the New Year's party, and I got kind of drunk, right?
Yeah.
You know, when you get drunk, you want...
Drunk.
Yeah, I was...
I'd look over at him to see how he's doing. He's just like...
Yeah. So this guy, man, I guess I was sitting next to him and his wife.
Yeah.
And his wife, I guess, was trying to go, hey, can you let me through? Can you let me through? I didn't hear her, so he did this. He went and, like, pushed me. And, you know, me, I'm kind of hillbilly-ish, so I looked at him. I was respectful. I said, hey, man. I said, next time, just tell me to move.
Yeah.
Don't push me.
Oh.
And he stood up, and he's like 7 foot tall. I went, oh, goddamn. I went, my bad, man. Now, actually, next time, don't push me. Just throw me. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. I took old Kenny Rogers' advice on that one.
Yeah.
Why don't
Dang
you tell him
on.
about the time that you got hit in the forehead by like a 85-year-old man?
Oh, yeah, at the casino.
An 85-year-old
Yeah,
man.
that motherfucker punched, hit me in the head like 8 times before I knew what had happened.
You had it coming.
Yeah. Yeah, I did deserve it.
I
I'm
don't
like-
believe what you told this man. He goes, you and your wife look like unshapely walruses.
I did.
Unshapely
No,
walrus.
I said they look like, well, I don't know if I can say it on here. Can I say it?
Say whatever you
I
say.
said they look like uncircumcised penises. That's what I said. And this little short fucker, before I even knew what had happened, hit me like 8 or 9 solid times in the forehead. Not enough to hurt, but enough to sound like a piece of meat.
It sounded like...
Yeah, it was going like that. And then I walked over to my friends. My head was like red. And they went, what happened? And I went, oh, old man over there. Like I said, that dude over there just beat the fuck out of me. And he's like, oh, where's he at? And they walked toward him. And this little guy limping with his wife, old man, out of the bar. And he's like, oh, that's Johnny. I'm like, is that normal for him? Like, it's just a bunch of people in a bar around him with a big red bar.
He looked like a wrinkly Elmer Fudd.
Yeah,
Heck on.
my head was sore for a week.
And
Yeah.
he literally marched over to Billy after he said that. And he goes, we'll see about that.
Heck on.
Hey, he was about it. That man been to Vietnam, I guarantee it.
Oh, yeah?
He wasn't scared of shit.
Yeah. I'd say you wouldn't. Well, I'd say you, although, man, as much as you're starting to travel and go around, you're going to have so many stories, even wilder than that. You're definitely going to have to come back and tell us about them.
Oh, absolutely. I can't wait. Well, give me a year.
Oh, yeah.
I might have some prison stories in a year.
I hope not.
Well, at least you'll know I put stuff on your commissary.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, she'll hook you up.
Thank God.
His Mountain Dew, it's expensive.
I wish Mountain Dew would sponsor me.
Heck yeah.
I
I'm a
drink
Mountain
enough
Dew.
of it.
I'm a Mountain Dew drinker.
I love Mountain Dew.
No, he is obsessed with Mountain Dew. There were days where I was working 3 jobs that day, and I did the night before, so I'm on like 4 hours of sleep, and he woke up and was like, I am out of Mountain Dew. And I was like, well, I can get you some on my way home from work. And he goes, you don't understand. If I don't get some Mountain Dew before you go to work, it's going to be a bad day for all.
Oh, my God.
And
Really?
I was like, I'm going to be gone until like 2 in the morning, but I'll get you Mountain Dew. You got to pick it up from the mailbox. And he goes, that's a damn good woman right there. And he goes back to bed, and I drop the Mountain Dew off at the mailbox and go to work.
Wow. That's awesome.
I don't even drink soda.
Oh, don't you?
No.
I like Mountain Dew now.
It's a life source for him.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Definitely. I'm probably not going to live to be like 35, maybe.
I feel like at the end of your skits, like we should just like act like Mountain Dew sponsors us and be like, this clip was powered by Mountain Dew.
There you go.
And get sued.
That's
That's
true,
a great
too.
start to the year.
That's true, too. There was an episode a while back that, in the beginnings of this podcast where somebody was at the table and they wasn't doing video, obviously, back then, but they mentioned this this drink company, and I'm like, ugh. I didn't say anything to them, but because they didn't know and everything, but I had to edit that out.
Oh, shoot, are you gonna have to edit that out?
No.
Well,
Because he didn't correct the what he said. He didn't say I was joking or about that or anything. Y'all did, so it's good.
Probably.
yeah, it was 100% a joke. But if they do sue me, fuck you, I guess. You're not going to get shit to come drive my truck off with a push rod bent on the foot. Good job,
All our
Pepsi.
savings is in a jar of quarters, and I hit him with scratchers.
Yeah.
So what's on the agenda for you after the the show coming up in Corbin?
We got a lot of shows booked in Kentucky this year. We got some
cool.
in Danville. I'm going down to Nashville in the middle of the year.
There's that other one you just booked for right near Pikeville, right?
Yeah, Pikeville.
Oh.
I'm trying to get all the local shows out of the way. There are some bigger venues that are trying to get me to come and do some comedy, but bigger venues a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bigger process.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to do all the local shows that I can.
Awesome.
Yeah, I want to get a start like a Waylon Jennings, you know.
Heck yeah.
I want to do them dive bars.
I'll try my best to be at every one of them. And let me know about them all, because I'll spread the word on here. Definitely.
Well, you'll come see us this Saturday. I got
I'll be
Amanda
there.
Meadows coming. Charlene on TikToks.
Yeah.
Big sweetheart. She's a sweetheart.
Man, Charlene is hilarious.
Yeah, she is.
She's funny.
I think she struggles with the same problem that I do.
Oh, really?
A lot of people assume that she's just like that in person.
Yeah. She's a lot different.
Oh, yeah.
She's a lot different.
Way different.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that I know that listen to this podcast that has found out about her and the fact that she's going to be there, and they freaked out about it.
Well, good. She don't even see people. People around here love characters like that. Like
They
she
do.
don't understand. She don't even. She can't comprehend the fact that she has a fan base here.
Big fan base.
Big fan base.
Huge.
So I think she's going to do really good.
So there's a lot of, you need a male perspective in this niche, or whatever you want to call it, of comedy, but there's just as much women that live that same type of lifestyle as there is men that need a female version of it, and Charlene is that female version of it.
Everybody knows here about 15 Charlene's.
Oh, absolutely.
Everybody knows about
They do.
15 Charlene's.
They absolutely do.
And they all go to Save-A-Lot and buy $400 worth of soda with their food stamp card and then sell it to the gas station for $100. We all know all about that.
Other day.
Yeah, that shit. We know what you're doing up there.
Yeah, Charlene, if you're listening to this, you've got a huge following, so you need to quit selling yourself short, because people's loving you.
I love Charlene. Her character is great. She's easy to work with. I've done consistent work with her now for about a year and a half.
Have you?
Consistent.
That's
work.
awesome.
Everything we do together does very well. I
Yeah.
think the characters clash very well. She has a great presence on camera. I haven't seen her stage presence yet, but if it's anything like her camera presence, she's going to do phenomenal.
What's
Yeah.
amazing to me is they've never met in person.
No,
really?
They've never been in
Wow.
the same room. They film their, content. Sometimes they just have an idea. They'll film a bunch of different clips and send it to each other, and the other person writes around that.
Now, see, that's
Which-
kind of amazing,
That is really amazing. And
because I watched a video today, and I could have swore I was using the same room.
That's
And it's just like,
well, good.
so
That's
when-
what we were afraid of.
I mean, that's what I thought, because now that you say that, you're like, dang on, she's filming her parts wherever she's at, and then you're over here filming your parts, and then putting it all together. That takes a lot.
Yeah, it's challenging.
I
But
guarantee it.
it's fun to do. And I like comedy. I like the improv. I've done 30-minute sets where I didn't go out with any material.
Wow.
Just got on there and I saw a guy that I didn't like. I didn't like the way he looked. I was like, you're about to get shit on for about 10 minutes, buddy.
Yeah.
So we'll have his fans too. They're like, "Hey, I saw you do that skit where you took that lady's prosthetic leg and drank a beer out of it. You ever give her that leg back?" And I was like, the sad thing is, I think I've seen you do that 5 times live. Is
Yeah.
like, come drink this beer out of that prosthetic leg on the stage, and it's not scripted or anything. But he gets a little buzz on, and he's like, "What's the fuck not? Are they gonna kick me out of my own show?"
Well, yeah.
That just amazed me, man, because I see all these comedians, they do hardcore like comedy, like they're involved in comedy, and I'm very passionate about what I do, but I don't know, man. I try not to take it so serious that it sounds like I'm reading a movie script. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People like
Yeah.
me for the personality that I present. They like the way that I say things, and I feel like that would take away from like a genuine aspect of it. So when I do get on stage, I'll drink me a beer or two. It's like having a conversation with the boys, except there's a fuck ton of people. So that's the way I like it.
The authenticity of it, I feel like, is just as important as the material. You got to have them one and the same. Every comedian that I've always loved to listen to is speaking from real experiences. Those are my favorite type of comics. I know Sam Kinison is a legend of mine that I always loved listening to back years and years ago. And he always spoke from like real situations that happened to him. And come to find out, he was a preacher at one time. And that was unbelievable for me to find out.
So one of the people that I look up to a lot when it comes to fan interactions and the way they do things, it's not a comedian at all. You know Ryan Upchurch?
Yeah.
From Tennessee.
Yeah.
I adore the way he does everything.
Yeah.
The way he does his music, the way he does his, like, anything he's involved with.
Yeah.
Everything he does is phenomenal. He's so involved with his fan base. He's very open. He's a very humble guy. Everything he does is a success. We got a buddy, Chandler Roberts. Mm-hmm. He did a song with him on his album. What was it called? Pass That Jar Around? Yeah, I think that's what it was called. It's called Pass It.
Country Boy.
Yeah, and I'm talking about the song he did with Church. So he did a song with that boy, and that boy had went to Walmart that day.
Yeah.
Right? And he started playing music just because he wanted to. He just wanted people to hear him sing. Wow. And he's one of the most talented singers I've ever seen in Nashville. And because of that, Ryan Upchurch put him on, like let him do music with him and gave him a voice. And that's
crazy.
Yeah, so that's why I have so much respect for Ryan. I love everything that he does. If you'll notice the mannerisms I use on my live streams, I take a lot from him. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of respect for him.
Oh yeah.
And so like I said, he has a show in Corbin coming up. He'll have way more fucking people than I have. You know?
Oh really?
Yeah, but he's got a bigger fan base than I have. He's doing the arena in March, right? Mm-hmm. The arena.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he deserves it, man. That guy's, as far as the way I do things, Ryan Upchurch is a big inspiration for that. Yeah. Comedy, the way I look at controversial topics would be George Carlin. Mm-hmm. Now, I get compared to Jeff Foxworthy a lot, but I never watched a lot of Jeff Foxworthy. I know it's going to be hard to believe.
Right.
I was always a Ron White fan.
I liked Ron White. Right. I enjoyed Ron White more than Jeff too. Well, he was just seemed like, I don't know, it was just my style, more my style of comedy.
But I liked him, and I liked Bill Engvall.
I like Bill. Yeah. I know I was severely let down when I found out that the other one,
Larry the Cable
Guy wasn't a legit.
Oh yeah.
Remember what we were talking about though, with the genuine thing. He was still funny.
I was still funny,
but people picked up on it. They
knew. When I found out that wasn't his real,
they didn't know for a long time because like him and Bubba the Love Sponge created these radio personas.
Yeah.
And what really put them on the map is they slaughtered a live pig on air.
Hell yeah!
Ha! Oh, pig roast going.
And that they actually had to like dissolve their radio show after that, and the two personalities went different ways, but they were personalities. You know, they were gimmicks. Okay.
Wow. I'll tell you, I don't know.
That startled me. You'll be up there on Saturday in the back talking to all the persons.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun time.
That'll be a first for me.
Well, I'm glad to be the first. I've never said that to anybody besides a woman. I think she was lying to me anyway.
Don't talk about your aunt like that.
Hey, Aunt Martha's a generous woman. She was just trying to show me the ropes.
Yeah, she just wanted to make you feel good about yourself.
Yeah, she did. She even said, ow. I knew she was lying. I was like, Aunt Martha, quit. Just hold still.
Oh, man. Yeah, I look forward to being there. And like I said, I'm going to try to come to as many of the shows as possible.
Well, you and your anybody you work with are more than welcome to come to anything that I do, man.
I appreciate it.
Be happy to have you there.
Oh, and I'd like to start bringing our circle of friends as they try.
Oh, wait till you. My buddy Michael, wait till you get him on here, man. You're going to love Michael. Michael Hargrove. He does, so he works a lot with a few people from Western Kentucky. You know who Cage the Elephant is? They do the song "Ain't No Rest for the Wicked."
Yeah.
Well, their drummer, Jared Champion, he's went to one of my shows before. Him and Michael are pretty good buddies. So Jared's been showing him the ropes and some things. They're both phenomenally talented people. Yeah. Michael, he goes by Miles. He's a rapper. He's a hip hop artist. And Jared's been showing him a lot of stuff. And it's just amazing how much you can get done if the right people see you.
Oh yeah.
So you're gonna love him. He's not only a good musician, he's talented. He's funny. You're gonna love having him on here.
Awesome. I can't wait.
He does a joke that it kills me, where he says he goes, "I be penny pinching so hard." Abraham Lincoln's like, "Oh my God!" So that's one of my favorite things he does.
I can't wait, man. I look forward to everything that can come of this.
Well, he'll be over here on Friday, so I might bring him by the studio and let you talk to him.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that'd be awesome. And again, I want to mention, let me pull this up here for everybody that's all watching.
The train station in Corbin, Kentucky, January
I want
6th.
everybody to look at this flyer again. January 6th, train station, $10 admission.
Unless you're a veteran.
Unless you're a veteran, and it's free. Yeah, so...
They were
really
talking
no
about
reason.
making the tickets more, and it was like, $10 is what you'd pay for a cover in the bar. And a lot of people in this area, aren't loaded, and we want them to be able to come out and get the entertainment.
Yeah,
too.
I fucked up and made a joke like, "Hey, if you bring $10 in cans, we'll let you in." I feel like some people took me serious. I was like, "Damn, they're about to kill me."
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh.
Poor Sergeant Major, one of the owners of the train station, was just muttering under his breath, going, "What is wrong with that boy?"
Oh, yeah.
I also would like to shout out to anybody that can follow me on Pornhub. My name on there is Dirty Wash Rag. That's my stage name. So if you'd go ahead and give me that, I have like 3 followers. One of them is my mom.
Dirty Wash Rag.
Yeah, it's not even like me getting naked. I like to beat the shit out of stuff with metal bars. So yeah, if you could give me a follow, he's laughing. Give me a follow. I like to yell at people.
Yeah, and get paid for it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Sometimes I like to go in Walmart and pretend to steal stuff just so people will give me some kind of attention. I like to grope in hard grasp of a man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we film it and I upload it. I call it Dirty Wash Rag at it again. And just be sitting in the back room of a Walmart waiting on the cops to show up.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds like a fun time.
No, it's not. Turns out that's a crime.
Oh man.
Do you really have I don't know.
She's questioning this now.
I guess we'll find out.
If it takes off.
No, I'm not on Pornhub. Could you imagine? That'd be weird.
Yeah.
I was like, well, if my iPhone stops working, it's because I'm on Pornhub searching Dirty Wash Rag.
Dirty Wash Rag, yeah. There's going to be people out there Googling Dirty Wash Rag.
I hope they do. Just to see what pops up.
You ought to just go home and take a picture of you holding the Dirty Wash Rag and put it on there. You found it.
Found me.
Oh, man. Oh, God. Well, this has been awesome. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me on here.
I hope you've had a good time. I know I have.
Yeah, always a good time. Anytime I can tell some stories.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. Again, the show is coming up the 6th.
Yep.
And I highly recommend everybody come out and watch it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's pretty much like this, except they gave me a microphone, which is way worse.
Well, and we're going to be putting you in the green room.
Yeah,
that's where we're all going to be drinking, because I'm hosting it. We're going to have Amanda Meadows. She doesn't really drink much, I don't think.
Right.
But Billy does. Michael does.
I don't drink.
He boofs.
Yeah.
What the fuck does that mean?
It means you drink it from your butt.
Yeah, but see, I thought, damn, that's what that means. I thought that's meant when you hit a line of meth or something.
No, he also thought that boosie. Do you know what boosie is?
Bussy.
Bussy.
Yeah, bussy.
Oh yeah, I know what that
He
is.
thought that was how people pronounced Buc-ee's, and for 2 years I heard him saying this, and I was like, just like with that Dirty Washer. Like, I thought it was a joke. And I was like, he used it in such a wrong way. I go, Billy, do you know what that word means? He goes, yeah, Buc-ee's. And he had a shirt and went, Buc-ee's. I go, no, that is not at all.
I don't think we're allowed to say what it does.
I'm not going to say what it means, but he was like, that explains why that old man almost fought me. And I was like, I like your boosie.
Oh my God. That's wild stuff. That's crazy. Well, listen, I've had a blast. Like I said, I hope y'all have had a blast.
Oh,
I know I'm going to have a blast at the show. I'm nervous wreck about being back in the green room. I ain't never
I
been that
don't be.
far.
It's just a bunch of rednecks. It's probably going to smell bad in there because I'm in there. Smell like old beer and shit.
Yeah. Well, I'll definitely be there. I've got plans to be there. My wife's coming. She's going to laugh her hind end off, too.
She going to love me.
Yeah. But thanks for coming. I appreciate it. We'll do it again whenever you want to.
I'm ready anytime, Bo.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening and watching, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one.
Absolutely.